So I was working around with my flyback transformer, and I was trying to get some ionic wind, so that I could then make some ionic craft, some ionic propulsion. But I noticed something about this thing when I put one terminal to a needle and the other one to a metal plate. And I noticed that it only on one polarity, the electricity would go out as in an arc before hitting the plate. But on the other polarity, it would just shoot straight up to the needle, the tip of the needle. And I think this has something to do with electrical inertia. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is. I am completely open to conversation, and I'm not claiming this is. I'm not trying to claim this is absolutely what's happening. This is just a hypothesis. I would like to open some doors to some interesting conversations. But I noticed, because electricity has mass, each electron weighs 9.11 times 10 to the negative 30 first kilograms. Now that's extraordinarily lightweight. So it's not very easy. You'd have to get it moving ridiculously fast to notice any inertia, even in very high amounts, high voltages. And it's moving very fast, basically the speed of light, at 299,792,458 meters per second. Now, this actually, I think, is fast enough to get some noticeable momentum, inertia, which is demonstratable by this setup I have. This needle, I have connected one terminal of it to the flyback transformer. So you could see, when I power this on, it jets out before hitting the metal plate. Now looking at the waveform, I don't have an oscilloscope. I got this waveform from a YouTube channel called Tanner Tech. You should check it out because he built this same circuit that I'm using and measured the waveform of it, which is this. Now, even though the bottom of it dips down lower than this, the waveform spends most of its time up here. So, which is why, even though it's high frequency AC, I would say that it does have a definitive negative and positive, even though they both, are kind of arguably positive and negative at the same time, which is basically AC. But since it spends most of its time up here, I'd say that it does have arguably a positive and a negative. Now, when that negative is connected up to the needle acts as a nozzle. So the electricity is shooting out there because that's basically the negative. So it's shooting out of it into the plate. But when you reverse the polarity, when negative is on the plate and positive is the needle, the electricity is shooting up to the needle. Now, if it's doing that, why would it do that arc shape? It would just shoot up. Which, if I reverse the polarity, we can actually observe. Well, I'll do that right now. So as you saw, it was arcing in that curved shape. However, you can see now it's just shooting straight up to the needle. It has no reason to do that curve because it has no inertia. But, when you reverse the polarity, it now has that inertia, so now it has that momentum. It's not just going to want to shoot straight down, even though electricity wants to find the path of least resistance, the easiest path. Yeah, that curved shape, it's not as efficient as just going straight down, but it can't go straight down as inertia. Of course, it doesn't have inertia if you switch to polarity. Oh, I thought this would be an interesting concept to make a YouTube video about, and hoping that maybe I can spark some conversations with it, maybe. I don't know. if maybe it's not what's going on. If just post whatever you think is going on, because I honestly am not completely sure. But if that's the actual explanation, I would not be too terribly surprised. So